I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational.
You can do it!
But that just wouldn't be our style.
Welcome to Project Reclamation, where you rebuild, re-energize, and reclaim your life.
You got a live mic here?
We do have a live mic.
The Project Record private record. The Project Reclamation private record.
Project Reclamation private record.
Private records of Project Reclamation.
Stephen Chang.
Yep.
How are you, buddy?
I'm okay. Didn't win the lottery.
Ah, dude.
$1.6 billion. I only had to guess 6 numbers right.
Didn't some fucking person in like South Carolina or something win?
Yeah, it's like one lottery person in South Carolina, and I was like, the take home if you did a one-time payout was $916 million or something like that.
Wow.
And I think to myself, you could buy the whole state of South Carolina. I can just buy a whole quarter of it, you know? I just think to myself, you know what? It's like you write down all the things that you want to do with all that sweet, sweet, sweet lotto money, and it's either like, if your one of the first things is, oh, I'm going to buy a hot car. Ugh, I don't think you deserve to.
Cars are stupid.
I don't think you deserve to win the lottery. But then again, the people that win the lottery necessarily don't deserve it or not. It's not like, oh, I had to pay off so many medical bills that this just really, really gives us a shot in the arm. And those people are never the ones that win it.
No.
It's always like the person that's
it's the
like,
people who I'm gonna buy a boat and a car and a new mobile home.
Yep. No,
and
but it's not even like
motherfucker's gonna be broke
like,
again in 2 years. Guaranteed.
Why did you buy it? What kind of? Well, I bought this sick ass motorhome, and well, it looks so good, and it has all the shiny rims on it. Why didn't you just buy a real home? I don't know.
I don't know what a real home is.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's tough, man. But at the same time, I do honestly wish the best for that individual in South Carolina. I will tell you that there was a ticket sold in San Diego that matched 5 out of the 6 numbers.
So do you win any money for that?
You win like $2 million.
That's
bro.
not bad.
No, dude, are you kidding me? If I found $5 on the floor today, I would have felt like I won the lottery, bro.
Absolutely.
Imagine if you like reached into your pants right now, right? And like, let's say 2 weeks ago or a week ago or just some unimaginable time where you clearly forgot it, you left like a $20 bill in your pocket. Right? I don't even know. Okay, that's unimaginable. Let's say
winner.
I
chicken
know,
dinner.
right? But if you just found like a secret 5, right? Like you were just using a $5 as a bookmark, or you like said, you know, like stored away in your jacket pocket because like you're like, oh, whatever, and then you like reached into it right now, and then you're like, holy crap, I got a 5. I didn't even remember it. Like that, that's like everyday lottery right there, man.
Yeah, dude.
You'd feel beyond like, holy crap! I won the pants pocket lottery. This is great.
I was talking to my buddy yesterday. He was he had bought some tickets.
Yeah,
but he was like, he's like, I was talking to my friend and they, you know what? I got this theory. Like, if you win the lottery, like you don't tell anybody, right? For like a couple of days, and then you hit up all your friends. And you tell them all, like, hey, man, I'm in a bind. Like, is there any way you can lend me $500?
Oh.
And then you see, and like all the people who ignore you, they ain't getting shit.
No.
Now, like people who are like, dude, I really wish I could help you. I can't. Like, that's fine. Like that person.
Yeah,
gets
dude.
That person. But he was like, yeah. He's like, first of all, then you know who you can help, like who to help out and who not to. But also the motherfucker that ignored you, like it's gonna be really hard for that guy to come back like the next day and ask you for shit. Yeah,
I got a business idea, and now that you got all this sweet earnings, I will tell you that I was reading, not reading.
Great idea.
No, it's an amazing idea. I don't know if the first thing I probably wouldn't do is like put my friends through a test. I would probably hire one of those lawyers that specifically deal with lottery earners, and then obviously go and like start an LLC somewhere in Delaware where they can't trace you, and then say, hey man, I won this ticket and I want all my money sent to Steven Incorporated or SC Inc. Care of Delaware, and so they can't find you. I was gonna say that. Well, God, how do you even say this? I was watching YouTube and like, they were talking about debt, and you like look at like how most of America is in debt, and you're like, okay, that stinks, whether that be college or healthcare debt, all of a sudden someone gets sick in the family and boom. And I was like I was watching, and then they said most Americans on average cannot like sustain a $473 hit. So if you have like something that comes up, like the car breaks down.
That's like new tires.
Dude, I know, but think about that, dude. So if someone's asking you for $500 and you're like, holy crap, like, and if you're like most Americans, according to this one little thing I watched, okay, now I take that for what it is, but maybe even look at your own finances and say, hey, could you sustain a $500 hit? We have the lap of luxury in the sense where maybe you and I could, you know. Yeah. I'm not saying that's definitely a gift from God, you know, because most people don't have that luxury.
Absolutely.
But imagine that, dude. Like, imagine just being like, hey, can you lend me $500? Oh, I don't know if I can. Like, I generally don't know if I can.
Right, but his reasoning.
Oh, no, for sure. I get his reasoning. Yeah.
Right. Well, anyone who, even if you called him and said, dude, I'd love to, but like, then that puts you in the winner's bracket.
Yeah.
It was the people who ignored you. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah,
who is this again?
Just hit me up for $500. Like, I don't have anything. So I'm not gonna answer him.
Bro, I need your help right now. Can't even decide on it. Hey, man. And honestly, you've been in a situation like that too before, where it's like, hey, man, like maybe you like, hey, man, I need you to pick me up. Oh, wait, where are you? Long Beach. Far, bro. It's like an hour and a half away plus traffic. That might be 4 hours.
I got a thing.
Do you need just $500, man? I can just put you on a Greyhound real quick.
I'd rather just give you $500 and pick you up from Long Beach. Let's be honest.
That traffic is you get up past Solana Beach, man. I'm just telling you.
I just landed at LAX. Can you?
Why did you fly into LAX, dude? Oh my god, dude. I remembered. One of my friends was like, oh, I'm going to come visit you in San Diego, but it's so much cheaper to fly into LA. And I was like, no, it is not cheaper. Like, it costs us at least 4 hours in the car. Yeah. And you save what? You save yourself $80, but you expense me.
You pissed me off more than $80 worth.
My time is worth way more than $80 a second, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's just like, oh, you're killing me.
Let's look at it, dude. Steve, with his pay plus overtime, $80 is like an hour of your time.
Oh, dude, I would just tell this person, hey man, why don't you just spend the extra $80? I'll give you the $80 so I don't have to like sit in traffic. And I'm telling you, LA, we are so fortunate to live in between two huge international airports, right? San Diego and LAX. Amazing. Some people live days away from an airport, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And never let alone like a major international ones. But here's the biggest part though too. I'm telling you, that space in between San Diego and LAX is like that 200 miles or that 198 miles or something like that. Holy crap.
That's okay. You used to live in the Northeast.
I used to live in Northeast. Yeah.
That's 3 states.
That is definitely 3 states.
Yeah.
3 of those are Northeast states.
But people who aren't from California, they don't understand. They're like, oh, LA, it's right next to San Diego.
No.
Like, I'll just fly into LA. No, dude. That would be like if you lived in Maryland and I was like, oh, I'm just going to fly into Boston. It's cool.
It's cool. It's pretty close. No, you get the toll roads, the traffic.
Dude, no.
And getting in and out of 2 major U.S. cities. Like, that's fucking tough, people. And I'm like,
Orange County's no slouch either. Like,
oh, that's right. You have John Wayne in between.
Yeah.
Oh, you have John Wayne. You also have Long Beach. You have also Long Beach.
Yeah, you got and so you got 2 fairly decent airports in between.
And there are some significant flights that fly out to the East Coast from John Wayne. So it's like you have bigger planes landing in that one too.
Yeah. But also just, traffic.
But that tells you how many people live in between us. Like, honestly, if there are 4 airports in between a 200 miles area, there's a lot of space.
Just the distance alone. Like you said, 200 miles. Like, if you were in D.C. and you drive 200 miles in any direction, like, how many state lines do you cross?
You're in Chicago.
Exactly.
I'm kidding.
No, I know.
But no, you're right. You do cross a lot of state lines, but it's just...
California's just a different beast.
California, and then you have to have a car for everywhere, but it's not just you. Everyone has a car for everywhere. You will get...
and apparently people don't fucking work anymore, from what I've gathered.
Dude, if you go up to Hillcrest and you're just hanging out at a coffee shop, Better Buzz, once again, shout out to Better Buzz. If you go up to Better Buzz at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which is prime working time, there's a line and people are there, not just homeless camped out people. I'm talking about real, classy job working, looking like they work a job. And I was like, not everyone of you motherfuckers could be nurses. Okay? Not of you are either medical sales reps or tech. You know what I mean? You go to work. Are you? I know the acting scene isn't down here, you know what I mean? Right. In LA, it was so funny. In LA, I'll tell you this much. I was there during the recession in 2008, and I will tell you, everyone's like, oh my gosh, the country is going through a recession, and now everyone's up to 10 or 12% recession. And I was like, oh, that's terrible. But then I was like, that's pretty normal for LA because everyone's out of work actors and actresses just fucking lounging around, scrapping around for odd jobs and doing whatever they can. Yeah. And I was like, oh, so LA I didn't necessarily feel it when I was in LA, but I was like, okay, it's kind of crazy, but yeah.
But now apparently nobody works.
No, apparently nobody works. But then everything is online, though. I will tell you that much. That's so all you got to do is just bring a laptop, and guess what?
But what do people
work on wheels?
Yeah, but are all these people really working laptop
Probably
jobs?
not.
I have no idea.
Dude, honestly, everyone's an Instagram model anyways now. All you have to do is just put a half-naked photo of yourself up on Instagram. And
I'm
all
an
of a sudden-
Instagram model.
Well, I know. I've seen yours. Tim, hot
You know
to
what,
touch
dude? Here's
frick.
Instagram is really they should have called it alibi-gram.
Go on.
Well, think about it, dude. If you're questioned for a crime
Okay.
nowadays, you're like, well, I was here. Well, do you have any proof? Well, I was
Look at my
home.
post.
You were home with who? Nobody. Like 10 years ago, you're fucked because you're like, oh, that's a horrible alibi. But now it's like, well, no, I was home with my dogs watching a movie, and actually, there's 17 pictures on Instagram that
Yeah.
can prove it. Like,
Oh, I'm sure that's
I
been
just-
used in a court case.
I'm sure
1,000 times already by now, a million
just,
times by now.
just random. Yeah.
I
was
get
listening.
it.
I was listening to something about the West Memphis Three, which is like back in the 90s. There was
Okay.
these three young.
Oh, I do remember.
Yeah,
thinking
these
about
three
this.
young boys were murdered, and there was these.
Was it
three,
a white guy and then two African American?
I think they were all white.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they were all white.
So I
thought they were all
I have
African
no
American
idea.
or black or
but
whatever
regardless,
descent of-
it was during the Satanic Panic, and so there was.
Satanic Panics. Maybe some of the viewers, including myself, don't know what the
So
Satanic Panic
Satanic Panic was back in like the 90s when.
Well, like Marilyn Manson was coming out. And they were
Maryland,
like,
yeah.
"Oh,
So there was
he's
a little
the
bit of that,
devil."
and it was this whole where Richard Ramirez is back in the 70s, but basically it was when there was kind of that whole panic that like, oh, there's all these satanic cults and people are worshiping the devil and like drawing pentagrams, and that's when like the whole goth thing kind of took off.
Okay.
But like, dude, so there was like this one kid who was like kind of a goth kid. Now, granted, West Memphis, Arkansas, it's like literally right across the state line, which apparently is a bridge, whatever, from Memphis, Tennessee.
JB and I drove across that bridge.
Sure.
Across
So have I. Yeah.
the whatever.
Yeah. So right on the other
Mississippi.
side of the bridge, apparently there's a town called West Memphis.
Oh, okay.
And it's in
Makes
Arkansas.
sense.
So there was so small town, right?
Sure.
So not a bunch like where even where we grew up, like there was a little collection of goth kids,
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
all black and painted their fingernail, whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So this one kid, anyways, fucking long story. West Memphis 3, they basically picked this kid and his best friend and some guy who seemed to be pretty mentally retarded.
Okay.
And because the one kid was kind of goth, like he dressed in black and like he read Stephen King books and he had a Metallica poster in his room. So they basically just painted him as, oh my God, he's the leader of a satanic cult. He must have killed these three boys. These three fucking people, he got sentenced to death row. And the other two got life sentences. They sat in prison for 18 or 19 years before they were finally exonerated. Now, I mean, the kid didn't do himself any favors because he was like, in his head, he's a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid.
They're really rebellious and
And
defiant.
he's real, exactly. So, but at the same time, when he's being questioned and even when he's on the stand, he's thinking, I didn't do this. So there's no way I can get nailed for it, right?
Yeah.
So he was kind of smarmy and snarky and smart-assy and said some stupid shit that didn't help his case at all. But basically, these three guys got put away for, like, honestly, the one kid was like, he literally all they had was like, well, he had a lot of black T-shirts and some rock and roll band T-shirts. He must be a Satanist.
Damn rock and roll.
Anyways, so that just made me think, like, well, I feel like I need to make sure I have an alibi at all times. So maybe that's a reason to use Instagram. Always have an alibi.
Yeah, or you could just not do crimes. Like I'm always from now I haven't been harmed by the law yet. I will tell you, I had a run-in with some Virginia cops once, and those guys are straight up like a-holes. I'm going to be very serious with you. They just like, I don't know, they weren't very, very tolerant. And they just were kind of just, I mean, sometimes you get the stereotype is what it is, and you're like,
Because they were bored or because you're Asian?
No. It's just because, like, they were like, oh, it was a whole, like, you match the description of someone, this car matches the description of, and it was like, of what?
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like something
they
like
can,
that.
it's a legal right to kind of pull you over, at least, like, kind of like,
Sure, but
stop
just
you.
think about it. You match a description of somebody.
Like, it was a white Kia. Like, okay, sure, I don't doubt that crimes happen in every single type of car, Audis, Kias, Lamborghinis, even, whatever, make
Sure.
it up. But I was like, okay, so,
But like white
and
Kia,
you can't
like-
really necessarily say, like, oh, what does the culprit, what was the person wearing? Oh, were they wearing a black shirt? Because, like,
Well, you know how witness comprehension is. They're like, oh, he had kind of like shortish, longish hair. He was wearing like a blue or black or purple ball cap, and he was wearing a shirt.
Yeah, and you're
And they're like, oh my God,
no,
Stephen
but even when the
Chang.
police officers like kind of pull you over and they're like, "Oh, you match the description." Okay, well, you can't roll down your window like partially and be like, "Okay, so if they match the description, what is that person wearing?" Because were they wearing? Oh, they were wearing a black shirt, black shirt and blue jeans. And then you like roll down the rest of the window and be like, "Ha ha! Look, I'm wearing a white shirt and shorts."
But that's what I'm saying though. So you didn't think like. You're like, well, I didn't commit a crime, so
Yeah.
I'm cool. But
I did have a little bit of lip though, and I wasn't 16 when I was.
But I'm just saying, dude, they bring you in because you match the description. Your car matches the description.
Yeah.
And they're just gunning to get a prosecution.
They have to gun to get something, right? They're looking.
So that's what I'm saying.
Isn't that the whole thing? Like, right? If you're like looking for the devil, you'll find him.
Absolutely.
If you're looking for, if you're trying to find ghosts in an abandoned house, you'll find them, all right. And
Yeah.
you'll have proof, and you'll show
Absolutely.
everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get it, bro. I get it.
So that's all I'm saying, man.
So start using Instagram.
I guess so.
Start documenting every other
Fuck,
30.
I don't know.
Every other 30 minutes, right?
This is me at home.
I know.
Snap,
Why would you just
click
take some random
with
and
the
look,
dogs.
holding the newspaper?
Holding it is it's such and such a date. Yep. Can't Photoshop this shit.
Oh man, that is just tough, man. That is so tough. What was I gonna tell you, man?
I don't know.
Dude. Damn, Instagram done saved the day. I was taking a look at what is this? Making a Murderer. Making a Murderer 2 came out on Netflix. Not as good. Not as good.
I saw something in
CNN
on
or
the
something?
cover
Oh.
of one of the magazines
Okay.
in the line at the grocery store.
Okay.
Something about that dude.
They still make magazines.
They do,
Yeah.
which blows my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Although, I guess not, because like I still read Men's Health.
Okay.
I have a
subscription.
I have a subscription. Fucking idiot, Tim.
Tim
So,
also
yeah.
has a prescription. Maybe
I have
not
a
the point of this
prescription. My
conversation.
doctor wrote me a prescription to read Men's Health. Yeah. Anyways, something about the guy from
Making Murder.
Making Murder.
Yeah.
Was it 2?
Well, I
Whatever.
think it's the same people on
Something
one
about him getting $100 million
Who
for
did now?
something wrongful accusation.
Did they finally release that dude?
Maybe.
Because at the end of the Making the Murderer 2, I don't want to spoil it. He didn't get released. He's still in prison. You know what I mean?
Oh, he didn't get released?
No, he's still there. It's not like it's like they freed him up. They
Well,
still have him
maybe
on
something
set.
just happened recently.
I think it's just like here's what it is, and this is like the issue with documentaries. Lord knows I love Michael Moore documentaries. I think some of his are better than others, certainly. And I think he certainly makes a point. But what's the purpose of documentary? To persuade somebody to present their side and
Sure.
what they believe is the correct or justified side.
But at what point does a documentary become fiction?
Or what point does it become propaganda for one
Or an
purpose?
editorial would be a better word than fiction.
And I don't know, because honestly, you would assume that it's not like an academic course, where you're like,
No.
oh, these are all the faults that we found, and this is how we found it, and then this is how we reported all this stuff. I mean, it's not supposed to be, because it doesn't have to be, because it's just,
But I feel like
history's written by the winners, like that
True.
whole deal.
But I
and
feel like
it's
some of the
just okay.
danger in documentaries lies in the fact that documentaries can be editorialized to the fucking hilt.
But I feel like the most popular documentaries are entertainment based, because I'm sure even like one that I would believe in, or I would fall under, is Al Gore's documentary regarding the environment. Why can't I think of the name?
Inconvenient Truth.
Inconvenient Truth. But then you think about that and you're like, okay, well, that is something that maybe all of us, everybody could watch and then could kind of like follow a little bit to better their own understanding about the earth. So it's us, not necessarily against the other side, because what is the other side? The other side is human extinction. So yeah, I'm not down with human extinction.
But isn't there a middle ground?
Sure, I'm sure there has to be, because like there's the argument of, okay, let's say we all go green, all of a sudden we stop using all those oil-based products, and then what happens to either a whole industry of people that have jobs, and then how do you support that?
That is so interesting.
Or how do you
bring
go
that
like
up.
into or how do you go into like making everything green now and everything reusable? Because unfortunately, everything has its limits. Like I don't know how you make a solar panel, but I imagine that you would exhaust those resources.
You mine random shit.
Don't you have to like
in
mine a certain
China.
metal or
Absolutely. And I don't know a whole lot about, but first, well, no offense to you, Stephen, but anything China does not adhere to the same practices and laws that we do.
Well, yeah, because they're Chinese laws and they're Chinese practices.
Also they're much more, being a pseudo-communist country, they're capitalistic to the fucking hilt in that they're really good at making money.
Sure.
No doubt about it.
Sure.
So while we handcuff ourselves with all these environmental things, we end up farming out most of our manufacturing stuff to China, and then they make it all and pollute 10 times as much as we would.
Oh, dude, when I was in China, it's very, very much.
There's cities in China where they have to they have to broadcast the sunset on TVs because it's so polluted you can't fucking see the sky.
Well, yeah, I mean that's how. And I would say that their population obviously is so much greater than the United States you can't even imagine it. But their space is a lot. They have actually pretty large space, but
they do.
But most of it's uninhabitable land, undeveloped land, and it's just like I mean Oklahoma is a great spot, right? Some of it's probably most of it's probably underdeveloped, or Idaho is a great place. Maybe the Montana's all pretty good.
Wyoming.
Most of it's probably underdeveloped, and you could probably still live
Alaska.
there. Yeah, but Alaska's a great example, actually. Yeah, but it's just, I mean, yeah, dude, I get it, and everything comes at a cost. So even if you're going green, you still have to have manufacturing to make those green.
I guess it's the actually making a difference versus doing something that makes yourself feel better when you're not really making a difference. Because by us stopping manufacturing of product X, we end up buying it from some Chinese manufacturer who pollutes 10 times more than we would.
Sure.
But we feel better because we didn't pollute our air.
Because we didn't do it. That's
exactly.
Right. I think that's so funny, right?
And so I'm not knocking anyone on this. I'm just saying it there is
That's just how the world
people don't think further than their own feelings.
That's true.
So we feel better because we're not polluting our air. But guess what? Our air and their air are the same air.
We save the Colorado River, but then the Yangtze is like just bombed out, and it's fish are just popping up polluted everywhere and everything like that. Yeah, I totally get that. God, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Because, like I said, there's some drawbacks to everything, and that might be certainly a drawback.
Well, then you look at someone like Al Gore, like he does this documentary or whatever, and then it turns out that he's in bed with this company and that company who stand to make a shitload of profit from like cap and trade, green, blah, 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 blah. So
I think you just get behind something that you believe in. And obviously, I mean, have you ever edited a school paper? Yes. How painful is that process? Imagine editing a movie for entertainment value, you know what I mean, at a certain cost. So, like, you have investors in a movie. Obviously, that movie wasn't cheap to produce, and so you're thinking, oh, that movie is X amount of millions of dollars, so it's like, holy crap, like, so you have to kind of pay back your investors. So there has to be some return on investment there, and then you see, we're like, oh, okay, well, great, now we got to go and get people to actually come see the movie. And that's just, I mean, wow, it's like any documentary, you're just trying to chase people to their side, and like, how do you do it? But then how do you also balance between like the financial portion of it? Yeah. And so, man, without getting too much of a hilt or too much on the hilt, it's just like, yeah, shit, what are you going to do?
I think my only takeaway is we go back to what we always say is focus small, local. What can you do?
Yeah. I get it.
We could get involved in this whole Al Gore debate for days.
Totally could.
Or you and I could go recycle some cans.
Yeah, dude, I will tell you that
if we all made a little bit of difference in our own little tiny circles, then I think the world would be a better place.
No, for sure. It's so sad. I was at the hospital yesterday, and like we have a trash can and we have a recycling can like right next to it. I mean, we have like sodas at our place, that we give like ginger ales and stuff like that. And they're only like probably about like 8-ounce cans or something like that. So I always just like kind of just
the little mini ones.
Yeah, but I just throw those in the recycling bin. But some people don't, right? And I'm like, oh, and I have to like, and I don't actually like, I'm not rooting through the trash. It's not like medical waste. Right? It's just like a regular trash can.
Steve gets poked with needles.
Yeah. Don't think like, oh, why is Steve rooting through medical waste? No. We wouldn't certainly put medical waste next to a regular trash can and have other people confuse it too. But I'll see like aluminum cans in there all the time, and I'm like, people, it was only like an inch away from like the blue, and everybody knows recycling colors right now. Yeah. Blue bin recycling, especially with the triple arrows that are going around. And I will literally reach in the can, and I'm always like, or reach in the trash can, and I'm always like picking them out. And I'm not a tree hugger by any stretch of the means, but why would you just throw away a metal can? It baffles me now.
You want to hear a funny fact?
Yeah.
So in the state of California, it's mandated that whenever they take the trash to the dump, they have to sort it.
They have to sort it.
They have to sort it for all the recycling and shit. So honestly, sure, it may help them a little bit, like cut down some of their time, but really most of the whole like the blue bin and the this bin and that bin is mostly just to make yourself feel better about yourself, because it all gets sorted when they get there anyways.
Well, on the offset chance that maybe one bottle escapes or something like that, and I understand it's broken or whatever.
I still do it too.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying it's funny because ultimately you could literally just throw everything in the trash, and the exact same thing would happen as if you put half of it in the recycling.
No, for sure. I always think back to this like one thing though, and I swear to gosh, and I saw like some Hollywood celebrity do this too on like TMZ or something like that. But like, it was just like someone had dropped something on the ground, and then like the response was, "Oh, don't worry, someone else will pick it up." And you're like, no, you pick it up. Like, you just dropped it. Like, it doesn't take an extra second. It takes about an extra 1 second to clean up your own mess. So, like, don't leave it for somebody else to do. Because that's, even though that's a job or a detail of someone's job that maybe they have, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's, like, it's not, like, I don't know. It's a little bit swarmy. It's a little bit inappropriate. It's a little bit pretentious, you know, to just be like, that's somebody else's job or that's somebody else's thing to do. And, I just...
My buddy Nick,
it's about responsibility.
Yeah, well, my buddy Nick was telling me about this something he was reading, and I don't know if it was true or if it's just like a parable. But there was some civilization a long time ago, somewhere in, I don't know, Europe. Whatever.
Sure.
Clearly, I wasn't paying enough attention, but basically, they had some annual festival or something where everyone. That's why I'm thinking it was somewhere in Europe, maybe like Italy. Somewhere where they have wine. So where they would all take, like, every family or whatever would take their best wine, like their best batch of wine, and fill up a bucket. And they would all go down to this festival and they'd fill up some large receptacle with everyone's best wine. So the idea is then they would all drink
from the community wine.
From the community wine, which is the best the best of all the different families.
The ultimate blend.
So one year this one family was like, well, you know what, it's been kind of a rough year. And who's going to know if we just bring a bucket of water instead of wine? So they bring a bucket of water, they dump it in, and then when they go to tap the thing and pour everyone's wine out, like to drink the wine, it's just water.
Oh, isn't everyone?
Everyone had that same thought. Like, who's going to notice if we just bring water? Everyone else is going to bring wine. So it's kind of like, that's just made me think of that, because it's like, well, yeah, if I don't pick up that piece of trash, someone else will. But if everybody thinks that same way, nobody's going to pick up the trash.
No, for sure.
So just pick up the fucking trash. Yeah. It's so easy.
What a unique fable, bro.
Right? I really like that. Yeah.
What a unique fable.
So shout out to you, Nick Kieran.
Good work.
Someday we're going to get Nick on this podcast. He's got a lot of cool... He has a lot of cool like stories and stuff like that.
What is Nick doing that he should be writing down these sweet fables? Nick's Fables.
Nick's Fables.
Go ahead, Nick. Not to be used outside of Stephen Chase, Stephen J. Incorporated. Good number one.
Nick's Fables. Nick Kieran, we're talking to you. Write a book, man.
Write a fables book. write a children's fables book about wine. Hold on. Wait, we'll make it about juice.
Getting children drunk.
I know. Well, hold on. This is taking a terrible turn. My bad.
I was talking to my friend. He has a small child. she's teething.
He has a small child.
I guess their pediatrician was like, well, I can't tell you to like rub some whiskey on her gums while she's teething, but to be perfectly honest, it really wouldn't be a bad idea. something to that effect.
God, I will tell you that, man, there's a lot of old school ways that certainly need to go extinct, right? Like, oh, it's okay, I can drink when I'm pregnant, or I can smoke when I'm pregnant, right? Like, those are all done. Those are all done on the wayside.
Drink and smoke all you want when you're pregnant.
I know. Or like, oh, I don't need to wear a helmet when I'm pregnant. There's a lot of old wives' tables. But if rubbing whiskey on, or rubbing some like whiskey on a baby's gums while they're teething helps you just kind of like, I don't know, keep the house sane for a little bit. I'm not saying that, alcohol, I'm not telling you to feed your kids a lot of booze, okay? That's not what Steven's saying. I'm just saying that there's some old world techniques that have kind of just crossed over. And it's just like, okay, if that helps you save your, I don't know, sanity for a little bit, might not be a bad thing in conjunction with maybe also having a peaceful, more home environment and doing other things. So I'm not purporting kids get drunk. That's not what Nurse Steven's saying. Nurse Steven is saying, hey, man, maybe look into some things sometimes. Maybe that's what you got to do. I don't know. I'm just tossing it out there. One day I probably will have a kid, and I will tell you that I'll be like, oh, yeah, definitely don't do that. I was reading a book, but as a single guy talking about it right now, yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all.
Well, and I feel like when you first have a kid, you care so much.
Yeah, you're reading every book.
And then your kids get older, and then you have a second kid, and like maybe a third kid, and then you're like, fuck it.
I will tell you, everyone that's told me for a long time that, oh, it's always the first kid that gets all the attention. I'm like, that's great. I don't I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think the only people that you need to get attention from are the grandparents, right? Because like the grandparents are the things that the people that will help you out the most.
Sure.
In helping raise these little 24-hour a day, 7-day a week, unrelenting, unyielding, kind of just attention monsters. And it's like, oh my god, ugh. I don't know, man. You ever think about having kids?
Yeah.
All the time. So what, you give me those all the time eyes? Yeah.
I don't know about all the time.
Your eyebrows went sky high, it looks like.
Nah, dude. Yeah, I mean, I think about it. I was having a meal at a restaurant.
Go on.
With my girlfriend.
Oh, go on.
And
what restaurant was it, by the way?
Really?
Was it an Italian restaurant?
It was Denny's.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was like a romantic, like
no.
down in
it was like,
Italy kind of like thing, and you swung the question, I want to have some kids.
No, it was literally just like lunch at Denny's.
That's awesome.
And she had
moons over my hammy.
She had the baby. She had the baby with her.
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try.
What did you try?
I'm gonna try and talk to the baby. I'm gonna try and help with the baby. No.
I had no idea where that was going for a second, bro. And I was gonna try this. I was like, what were you gonna
what
try at Denny's, bro?
What else was I gonna try?
I don't know. Some like open thing.
No, like
open in front of the public thing. I don't know,
like
bro.
literally
The way the
just
setup story was
literally.
really good.
There's a baby in a high chair.
Okay.
I'm just like, well, I'm gonna try and contribute somehow. I don't want to say in a parental way because
got you.
So being completely fucking clueless and inexperienced in such.
As sometimes most
I realized real
are.
quick. So like this kid, she tries to give me a grape, and then like she takes it away, and then she wants me to give it back to her, and then she just hits my hand like, nope, take that shit away, my grape. So at this point, then she gets out of her high chair, and then she's just running around, and I'm just like, I have no fucking clue what to do with a baby. Like,
how old is this baby that they're running?
Like they're 14, 15 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's
for sure.
She's small. But I'm like, I realized that moment, I was like, I have no fucking clue what to do. Like, I am clueless. So I called JB. I'm like, JB, dude, so I tell him the story.
Wait, did she just leave you around with the baby?
No. She was there too. Like, she was, no, gotcha. I didn't.
Then I called JB.
It was like,
it
was like a student driver situation where she had a brake and a steering wheel too. So like, I was trying to steer, but like if I fucked up, it didn't really matter.
For sure.
Yeah. So I called JB, and JB goes, well, Tim, it really comes down to one thing. Don't let the baby die. I'm just like, I was like, is that really it? He goes, well, yeah, everything goes back to that. Like, you feed the baby so they don't die. Like, you don't let the baby run away because they might die. You got to change the baby so they don't die. Like, everything goes back to like, don't let the baby die.
That's so funny.
So then I told her that, and she just laughed.
God, I couldn't imagine it. I honestly couldn't.
It's a trip. It's a trip, man.
Dude, I guess, dude, honestly. I think about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it gives me the willies a little bit, because I'm just like, oh God, dude. It's like, but that's like in that moment where you find out that you're a father, or you're expecting a father to be, or even a parent to be, not just saying it's a man thing, or a woman thing, or whatnot, or a husband or wife thing, or a father or mother thing. When you find out you're a parent, it's almost like you have to really, really make a choice here. And in my mind, conceptually, I think, well, then that from that moment you find out, then you got to really, really get like, okay, well, this is what I want to do, and this is who I got to be now, and this is how I got to change, and you stop doing all your stupid shit, right? Like if your friends aren't helping, and your friends aren't gonna be changing or helping, not changing the baby, but like helping you get, usher yourself into that next stage of manhood or fatherhood or whatnot. Sorry, not manhood versus fatherhood, but fatherhood. Well, then you can't have them around, bro. You know what I mean? Because like they're just gonna sink you down. Your attention is gonna be so like your free time is gonna go from 100 to 1 in like overnight. And it's like it should change you. It should like.
I feel like having a kid, it pretty much forces you to either grow up.
Yep.
Or kind of show the world that you're a piece of shit.
Oh, it definitely would give you both of those platforms, right? And no, I think there's not even like an either or. Like it's always like, oh, okay, like because I think people are so judgmental, and that's people are people, but like there's a judgment for that reason. It's either inherently built in because like it's a community thing or a community aspect, but the short of the long is that. Oh yeah, there's Steven, Father Steven. There's Pops Steven just letting his kid just fucking play around, hit other kids. Like eat all the candy he wants and drink all the soda and just fucking fall off the jungle gym. What a bad father. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, what a bad father. Oh, there's Steven just not even paying attention to himself. He got throw up all over him and is cleaning up his baby and has mismatched shoes and it's like, fucking doing everything.
But even that, I'm thinking
He's
more
gained
like
55 pounds and hasn't shaved in 4 or 5 days. What a good dad.
but even but it would be even worse if you were like, let's say Steven Chang was like a party guy, right? Like you like to go out to the clubs.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
So it's like
That's
you
me,
got
all
a
right.
kid. Well, for a minute.
No,
let's
I
just-
know.
Okay. So like you got a kid. So you're like, okay, you kind of have a choice. Like clean your shit up, grow up, and be a good dad. Or you go out and keep being a fucking drunk partier guy. And then you still have this kid. And then you just, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
Then that's when you're like, okay, Steve's a piece of shit.
What a piece of shit. No, but even
Or-
like, the other ways too. Any which way that like
That's
even
true.
like your kid gets hurt. Oh, where was the dad? You know, you're like, oh,
Your
God.
kid gets hurt and you're drunk, so you can't
Oh,
you
God,
can't take it. I remember I was reading some like interview with Brad Pitt a long time ago, and he was talking about like fatherhood. And he was like, yeah, like one of the biggest things is like, you know, you can't have that third beer or whatever because like you never know when one of your kids like needs to go to the emergency room. And granted, like these days, I guess you could just Uber to the emergency room or whatever.
Sure.
But still, though, like you know, you're no longer making your choices for yourself.
And yeah, I don't even know if you should, man. You know, it's like not like in that way, but
No, but there's people who have kids and then they still make choices based on themselves,
no, for sure.
and that's
kind of weird. Like I think in my mind, I go, "What a bad parent! What a bad
It's
parent!"
not
But then if I was there in that situation, I'd be like, maybe they're not so bad after all. I don't know. I mean, parents that are listening, oh my gosh, or you know, fathers and mothers that are listening, they're like, "Oh, Steve has no clue what he's talking about." I really don't. I don't
you're
have
hearing
kids.
from two completely unprofessional.
Inexperienced people
inexperienced.
in that realm.
We have zero credibility in this realm.
I am a new uncle, but I have only seen my niece but one time
You're
for
a
a few
new uncle,
days. Yeah.
and I am clearly I can't even I don't even know what to do with a baby at a restaurant. So
Dad, I don't even know how to hold one. So if you're listening, you're like, "Oh, these motherfuckers have no clue what we're talking about." You're right, we don't.
Yeah. And I was
But on
like-
the outside, if I was an outsider and I was like looking at it, and I was looking at someone like myself who didn't even know how to hold a baby, I was like, "Oh, what a bad person trying to hold a baby.
yeah.
He doesn't even know how to do it."
yeah, like dude, I hanging out with
I'm very judgmental
Hanging
even
out-
against myself.
every time I go to Vegas, hang out with Casey. Obviously they have
They have a baby.
9 or 10-month-old,
Wow.
and she's like fascinated with me as long as I don't as long as I don't touch her.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Oh, hold her." I'm like, "Holding the baby. I don't know how to hold a baby.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing."
I have no idea.
But then again, the two of them had like even JB and his wife, like they had like when they had the first one, like they didn't know what they're like. That's the thing. Like people, you have to learn. Like you got to learn on the fly, I guess.
No, for sure. I always think there's like some things that people know inherently how to do because it's just in your DNA at this point, and you just have to do it, right? Like people always go like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be good at having some sex," and I'm like, well, it's reproduction. You'll figure it out. Like as soon as you kind of get in that realm. Well, what if the guy doesn't like the way I move in bed? You're naked. Like I'm sure he'll love it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Or like,
but
you know what I mean?
keep thinking about it that much, and you will for sure suck at it.
Oh, dude, it's like, okay. And it's like, oh, how to hold a baby. Oh, I don't know how to do it. But you'll figure it out real quick
figure it
because you
out.
have to. And it will happen. And you're like, oh, crap. When I hold the baby like this, they cry. And
Well,
they're
then think
happy.
about it. Like if I was like, Steve, go find $5,000 for what?
Yeah.
Huh? Like, okay. It'd be really hard for you to find $5,000.
Yeah.
If there was like, Steve, like your house is going to get foreclosed on.
Yeah.
If you don't find you would find a way to find $5,000. Like
Oh, I got
when
$5,000
you
right
have,
now. Boom.
When you
Sold my
have
body.
to, and I think you've brought this up before, like Tony Robbins said something like, when you have to do something, you find a way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's kind of like the whole baby thing. But then
Yeah.
I feel like there's people who just don't do it.
Dad, I always just think like if you're right. Like there are some people that just don't do it because maybe they just either still don't learn that lesson or they're still so wrapped up, and it's a selfish thing if you ask me. But it's maybe a selfish perspective, like, oh, but I do get it that people need time off. And
Your
people
baby,
are
your
like,
baby is
"Oh,
using a crack pipe as a fucking pacifier. Like, come on,
this is terrible.
it's fine. They'll be all right.
One of the worst things I always see in the hospital, and this like used to get me so much in DC, is that you would see this little child come in, respiratory kind of distress, and then you put them on treatments, and like you'd be like, okay, this kid, and you're like, the kid wasn't necessarily not well, but they were just like, oh, struggling for medication. Oh, the medication's not working, and the mom would be like, oh, medication's not working. And then you're like, oh, we didn't have all this, we didn't have that, and they have like 100 excuses, and you're like, okay, I get it. I mean, it's fucking healthcare. I'm not trying to judge you. I'm just trying to say like, paint me the picture about what's happening here, because I need to see this, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is it like at home? Like, I don't know. I mean, I just met you right now. Like, I never met you before in my whole life, but then here's the hard part. The little kid's kind of suffering. And then we're like, okay, we're getting better. And then I paint myself the scene, and I'm like, I look at what the girl's like wearing, or the mom's wearing, and she's got the nice Jordans on, and she's got her hair all done up, and she got a nice bag, upon it, like a Louis Vuitton bag, and you're like, honey, like your focus is on the wrong stuff. You know what I mean? Like, your focus is on the wrong stuff. Like, if your kid has asthma problems, you need to have all that stuff equipment. You should be buying all that equipment, $1,000 equipment on the $1,000 asthma equipment just in case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not the $1,000 handbag, because
it's like having a 75-inch TV in your trailer.
Yeah. Dude, having the $100,000 sports car that you're pulling into your studio apartment.
Exactly.
You put the money in the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Like, you put the focus on the wrong thing. And once again, if you're single and you really just single, and you're straight up like, I don't really want to procreate, I don't really care about anything, I'm an orphan, and I've made it, and take care of yourself. Do you? No one's ever gonna be mad at that.
If you're your only responsibility, then do whatever you want,
dude.
But if you bring a child into the world, then you are no longer your top priority.
I feel like you need to change. Like, I always like saying that. I think like Pops Chang had a conversation with me one time, and he's like, "Oh, when I found out that I was having like some kids, like, and my dad once again was never no club goer or something like that. He was never no super party guy, but he was like, I changed instantly. You know what I mean? And that changes you. It's opposed to like, hey man, what happened to your sweet hog, bro? What happened to your Harley Davidson, bro? Sold it. Because why, man? Oh, one, I need the space, but two, I need the money, and three, I'm not riding a motorbike when I have a kid now. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, but you love that bike. I love my kid more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna love being a dad even more than I'm gonna love all that stuff.
Yeah, because motorbike gonna kill me eventually. Yeah,
or you see that guy with a nice sports car. Oh man, don't do this if you're not out there. No, I don't really want to do this myself, but sometimes guys trade up for that minivan, bro. And you're like, oh, you never thought you'd drive around a minivan until you actually could really see the benefit of using it and needing one. And you're like, oh, minivan's not bad.
Yeah.
Actually, Gary Pickett is a perfect example. GP, if you're listening, baby, man, I saw that minivan and I knew you were living the life. Do you know how I knew you were living the life? Because you got that minivan life, bro. I'm jealous, bro, because you got three kids that put it in.
He's got a minivan, but he's got three kids.
He's got three beautiful, healthy kids, a beautiful wife, Christine, if you're listening to this too, girl. Oh, my gosh, what a beautiful family. You've never seen a beautiful family like this. They're all beautiful kids. It's awesome. Piercing eyes, just looked right through you, and then you do anything for them as soon as you saw them. Oh, shoot, what do you need? JB's calling me.
Oh.
Why's he calling me?
I don't know.
Hold on, JB's calling. Jables McBables.
Yo.
Yep.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.